Hello and welcome back to the MLB DFS slate breakdown for Wednesday, May 14th. We're back. We're going to be breaking it down. We got a nice big slate today on Wednesday. We have daytime baseball. We got a main slate. It's a great day. Come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, the props, the DFS. You get it all one low price. Now let's dig into it. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann, and I'm going to take you through yesterday's perfect lineups, the winning lineups, and then round it all out with some pitchers to consider today and some stacks to consider. So getting into the good old PLs. Perfect lineup action we got. Chris Bubic and Dylan Cease were the pitchers you needed. I liked both of them yesterday. Talked about both of them. Then, two-man A's stack and two-man Giants with some one-offs. Giants, Yastrzemski got it done. Klaus hit his first home run of his career, which ended up being a grand slam. So congrats to him. Now let's dive into it a little bit and see what we can uncover here as far as the winning lineup, which went to Nerdy Tenor, won by a little over or a little under 3 points here. He had Cease, he had Brown, so the two chalky pitchers were enough to get it done. And then had a 4-man Toronto stack. Wow, with one-offs. Not something I expected from Nerdy Tenor, but Pete Crow, Tatis, Lowe, and Will Smith were the one-offs. So he paid up with the one-offs and went with the cheap Toronto stack is essentially what happened, how that got done. Congrats to him. Now, let's check out the perfect lineup on FanDuel. Bailey Ober appears to be starting with a pretty solid game. All right, so we got Dylan Cease. No big surprise there. He had 10 Ks, so generally makes that happen. Two-man Toronto stack, two-man A's. Then some one-offs there with the winning lineup going to Elusive Smoke. They had Dylan Cease. Four-man A's and two-man Toronto with two one-offs. Tatis, I guess his walk-off dinger won it for Elusive Smoke. So congrats to Elusive Smoke. You won 20K. Nerdy Tenor won 50K. And let's dive into today's lineup now. All right, starting with pitching on DraftKings, we got Clay Holmes, 29% owned. He's in a good spot. We got a 5-star alert score versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh striking out 25% versus righties. Low WOBA, low ISO. His numbers are exceptional. 2.96 FIP over the last 20, 2.8 over the last 5. The K rates came down a little bit, 25% now. StatCast data looks good. Splits look good. BVP looks good. Hard to really want to go against Clay Holmes here. The only thing that I could come up with as far as a reason to fade him is he only has a 21.1% combined K rate at 9K. That just isn't very high for that price, and he's high owned. So I think it's a situation where we got a super high floor here, but the ceiling might be lower than most people think, and that's one thing that can worry me. Chris Bassett, 9,500, 28% owned. Bassett started off the year absolutely dealing, but he has came back down to earth lately. 4.77 FIP over the last 5, 22.8% K rate, 24 over the last 20 starts, 4.18 FIP over that time frame. Now, StatCast data looks great. The opponent splits look good. They are in Bassett's favor, but BVP data, only a little bit of BVP data here, 26 plate attempts, but they have got the Bassett a little bit. Combined K rate, 24.9%. I'm not in love with Bassett in this spot. I don't mind some. I think 9,500 is a bit pricey for him, but at least his combined K rate is quite a bit higher than Clay Holmes. So I don't mind the upside here. Also, Bassett is one of those guys where when he gets it going, that ceiling is way higher than most people. So I like the ceiling here. Floor is super low, though, and I don't mind having a little Tampa Bay stacks if I'm also playing Bassett. I just don't want them together in the same lineup, obviously. Next, Patrick Corbin, 8,300, 25% owned. Look, when Patrick Corbin is starting to get high owned, that is when I jump off the Cy Corbin bandwagon and want to stack the other side. Corbin is prone to huge blow-up games, while Colorado really does not scare me offensively. At least versus lefties, they do hit the ball hard. 189 ISO. BVP data's in favor of Colorado. I have a very, very hard time wanting to pay for 8,300 Patrick Corbin. That's a no for me, dog. Next, we got Nick Lodolo, 8,700, 25% owned versus the White Sox. Shocked that he isn't higher owned. There's some consistency there. There's limited upside in this spot, but obviously it is versus the White Sox and splits are in his favor. However, do have to bring up this aspect. Averaging 71% less fantasy points while at home. That good old small park is not working for him. Look what he's done at home. 0 versus Washington, 10 versus Seattle, 12 versus San Francisco. Meanwhile, when away, 21 versus Milwaukee, 21 versus San Francisco, only 9 versus Miami, 35 in Colorado, 21 in Atlanta. Apparently this guy is not able to pitch at home right now. It is a little bit of a trend we saw last year too. He does have some ability to have some solid games at home though. It's just he's been better away. So take with that which you will. Now, Yoshi Yamamoto, 10.5K, 23% owned. This is an easy one for me. I absolutely love this spot for Yamamoto. He's just too good on a slate where I got worries everywhere. Yamamoto has upside. Keeps the ball on the ground. He is allowing a little bit too much hard contact, and he's versus a team that hits the ball hard. They just scored 11. I think with that, people are going to not want to smash the Yamamoto name here, but Yamamoto has upside. He's the best pitcher on the slate and probably going a little under-owned, so I like the spot for him. The other pivot that I want to talk about was Mitchell Parker, 7.2K. He has a 3.85 FIP over his last 20, 4.26 over the last 5. His issue is upside. Strikeout, 17.9%. StatCast data is okay. But the Braves have been awful versus lefties. 211 average, 113 ISO, 267 WOBA, striking out at 21.7%. I mean, these are like, numbers that are worse than the White Sox or Marlins or some of the worst teams in MLB. So they've really struggled versus lefties. But the issue, we also got another guy that can't pitch when he has big splits home and away. While away, he's averaging 86% less fantasy points. Got blown up against Miami. Had a good game versus Pittsburgh. Got blown up versus Cincinnati. So sample size here is pretty small with the home away splits. I wouldn't look too into that really in this situation. I think he's an interesting Mitchell Parker, low owned, cheap dart throw type situation there. Now, let's dig over to FanDuel, see what we got there. Yamamoto's high owned, Corbin high owned, yuck. Lodolo, 9,700, 19% owned. Bassett, 9,500, 10% is interesting. Mitchell Parker, only 8K. Little interesting to me here. The thing I want to say here is all that really needs to happen on this slate for a lower price guy to be needed is that Yamamoto doesn't have a big strikeout game. You don't get a big strikeout game from him, and you may only need a 7 or 8K pitcher, so we could probably get a little more diversified at pitcher today than most slates on FanDuel. I mean, that goes for DraftKings as well. But Bassett, Parker, both much interesting to me. I don't even mind a little Ryan Papoy, even though he hasn't been great lately, and his Statcast is a little ugly. Let's get over to some stacks now before we round this out. So, highest owned stacks on the slate. Again, we got 9 games on both. Texas versus Senzatella. Senzatella's been awful. Game total of 9. One of the highest game totals on the night. And Senzatella 6.11 FIP, 5.74. Absolutely fine going to some Texas. We got Cincinnati versus Davis Martin, and it's in Cincinnati, so it is the Great American Small Park. You got to be a little interested versus Davis Martin here. 4.69 FIP, 4.33. The Cincinnati offense is good. Dodgers versus Gunnar Hoglund. Very small sample size. Hoglund was very good in his last start, but it's the Dodgers offense. I mean, they can definitely get to anybody, and they got a reason to be a little upset because they got absolutely handled last night. We were all over that A's call. Hopefully some of you guys won some money from it. Next, we got Cincinnati, Texas. We talked about all those. So, highest projected stacks now. We got Dodgers. We got Mets. Mets versus Bailey Falter makes a ton of sense. Falter's decent, but he can get blown up, and they're super low owned, and we have them projected high, so it's a very interesting spot to me. Super high on our leverage score. I would not be surprised if that's the highest leverage on the slate. Cubs versus Ryan Weathers. Ryan Weathers making his first start of the year. Now, his velocity in spring was up a little bit. He did get hurt, so we'll see if it is still up. He looked pretty good in spring, but this Cubs offense is solid. Don't mind going there. However, Kyle Tucker has been slumping a little bit lately, and they definitely need him for those big boom games. Now, highest value stacks. We got White Sox versus Lodolo. Don't totally hate it. Lodolo can get blown up a little bit, and it's a good ballpark in Cincinnati, so it's slightly interesting. Highest leverage, we got A's versus Yamamoto and Mets versus Falter. Hate picking on Yamamoto, just doesn't come through that often, but with Dodgers and how hurt they are pitching, they could go to position players a little early, like yesterday, which just added more fuel to the fire to the Athletics. However, this is probably not a game that they're going to go to a position pitcher. Most likely, Yamamoto goes 5-6 innings, does well, and no room for Atlanta to really win you a slate. Mets, however, absolutely there is. I don't mind a little bit of the A's, just not going overboard with them is all I'm saying. And then the highest ceiling one, Dodgers, Cubs, makes all the sense. We click the teams tab. Texas, 5.2 implied run total. Dodgers, 5.1. Padres, 5.1. Padres are super interesting. That bullpen is just awful. And if you can get to Hendricks, then you get to that bullpen earlier. Now, Hendricks is probably my least favorite bad pitcher to pick on in major leagues. The reason being, he generally goes 5-6 innings, gives up 2-3 runs, so his ERA looks a little bloated. His FIP is a little bloated, but generally doesn't get totally blown up. Now, there are some blow-up games there, but most of the time, he keeps his team in the game enough to give them a chance to win. So the key for the Padres to really get it done is getting to him early, getting him out of that game, and then just raking on the bullpen, which everybody's been doing judging by their 7.09 ERA, 1.7 whip. Cincinnati at 5 versus Davis Martin. We talked about it. Braves at 4.9 versus Mitchell Parker. Now, Mitchell Parker, while I like him, we did see that he is way worse in away games. This one's away. Makes some sense to want to go with some Atlanta. Mets 4.9, Cubs 4.9, Houston 4.4, Cubs 4.4. Toronto 4.4. Toronto makes some sense too. They've been hitting decently, and 46% hard contact, 91 average exit velocity is given up by Ryan Papoy. So, not great. Washington versus Bryce Elder. Never know what you're going to get from Bryce Elder. And then, look, I think the Angels probably hit a couple home runs off Randy Vasquez. Vasquez isn't great. Giving up a lot of hard contact and a lot of fly balls, a lot of barrel balls. I'm sure the Angels line 1 or 2 up for home runs, so I don't mind picking on them a little bit as well. And that'll do it for us today, guys. I don't think we're going to be back tomorrow. I think that we only have a day slate tomorrow. I think there's only 2 night games tomorrow evening. If that changes and we have, 4 or more games, I'll be back. But that'll do it. If I'm not back tomorrow, I'll be back Friday. You all have a good one. Let's make some money. Peace.